Hello guys, once again to my video. I am Louisa and I'm a skin and hair care formulator. So in today's video we are going to make our moisturizing shea butter soap, and this soap is ideal for all skin types, especially for people that have sensitive skin, because you know shea butter itself has a lot of moisturizing properties, and so this soap is like awesome. So I'm measuring my sodium hydroxide, and this ingredient is toxic, but the amazing thing is that when it reacts with your butters and your oils, it makes soap, and the soap is very safe to be used on your skin. But in making this, just ensure that you protect your skin. Like you can see in the video, I'm wearing my safety gloves and I'm not just using my hands to pick this. So just be careful when you are measuring your sodium hydroxide or when you are working with it, and also store this well. Store this away from kids or away from your pets. Now going back to measure my lye solution, you need water. So a combination of distilled water with your caustic soda creates a lye solution, and this solution, when combined with your butters and oils, makes soap. So you can also use pure water or any bottled water to make your bar soaps as well if you do not have distilled water available. But just ensure that you don't use tap water, because it can really affect the consistency of your soap. Also, another thing that I like to do when I'm making my soap is to add salt to it, because salt helps to really get like a really solid bar soap, and it also helps to make the soap last longer. I know like bar soaps really last longer, but this is like just an extra preservation method. Now another selling point of your bar soaps is to make sure that it lathers well, and that is why I'm adding citric acid. Now this is because we are making soap with 50% shea butter, and we just want to increase the lathering qualities on this soap. So citric acid is going to help us to get that. Now I'm measuring my shea butter, and the reason why we're using shea butter to make this soap is because it makes your soap super creamy and moisturizing, and that is the wonderful advantage of using shea butter in your soap, because it gives you a very solid bar soap, and it also helps your soap to create this creamy and conditioning feel on your skin when you are bathing or using it. The shea butter in your soap, or using 50% shea butter, also creates a very mild soap. So for instance, if you are using this for people with sensitive skin or on babies or kids, this soap is the right soap to use for such skin types. So I'm adding my coconut oil to this recipe, and coconut oil helps to really boost the lather of your soap. So you know, when you're making soap, just add a little coconut oil and you will see the difference. I'm saying a little because coconut oil also has very high cleansing properties, and I have a sensitive skin, and the person I'm making this soap for also has a very sensitive skin, so we want to keep coconut oil at a very low percentage so that it is not harsh on the skin when you are using it. Now we're going to go in to add our palm kernel oil. I mean, usually when I'm making soaps, I'm so serious, like I don't want to be distracted, because the least mistake can make your soap turn out so bad, and you're going to waste a lot of butters and precious oils. So excuse me if I'm sounding too serious in this video, because Charlie, I don't want to make any mistake. So I am adding my sunflower seed oil to this wonderful butters and oils. So I'm adding a little bit of moringa oil to this recipe because popular request, my clients wanted a little bit of moringa, so I just added a little bit. Moringa can be quite expensive, so I don't really add a lot to this recipe. Another thing you should also note is that, you know, when you are getting your ingredients for your soap, ensure that you're getting oils that are always in season, like they're always available. You don't run out of such oils in the market, because it can really affect you if you are doing this commercially. It can affect your business, so make sure you go for oils that you know you can always get. Shea butter you can always get, coconut oil you can get, like all these things are there that are always in season. Now I'm adding a little vitamin E to just make this soap extra moisturizing, like, you know. So now we're going to make our lice saponification process, and you know, this whole processing I mean, just be careful. So we're going to add our sodium hydroxide to the water and not the other way around. You don't pour your water into the sodium hydroxide, because once you do that, you're going to create a lot of explosion, like fumes would heap up, you know, and this can be very corrosive to your skin. So we're just going to add our sodium hydroxide to our water gradually and just stir it gently until everything is dissolved. Now, there are a lot of ways of making soap. Some like to prepare their lye solution and like store it in like a container or somewhere safe, and then all they have to do is to just take a little bit of the lye solution and then directly make their soap. There are different ways, but I'm using the soap calculator, so I have to do this like from scratch, like prepare my lye solution and then also start making my soap. So it depends on how long you've been doing this. You already have like a systematic formula that you're using, so I mean, you don't have to do this. You already have your lye solution. You just take some and then you start making your soap with it. So I decided to add some fennel seeds to my lye solution because like I read about it and I was like, oh, why don't I just add this to my soap? And so I said, okay, let me infuse this into my lye solution, because the lye solution is like really hot right now because of the reaction. So as you can see, I put it in and it's already creating a nice infusion for me. And then I'm going to sieve this out when I am pouring it into my oils and butters. Now, like I said, I told you that there are different ways of making your soap, and usually you have to melt your butters before you start adding your lye solution, but I'm doing a different type because, like, I just want to finish this thing quickly. So I'm just gonna pour my lye solution directly into this, and because it's very hot, it is going to melt all my butters for me, and the saponification process is also going to start immediately. Yeah, but you need to really learn this for some time. So I mean, if you want to do videos where I'm going to be doing that as well for you to see. Now I need to keep stirring this to speed up the melting process because the shea butter had a lot of big chunks. I was supposed to break this down into little chunks, so next time I'm going to do that. After a lot of stirring attempts, this stubborn shea butter decided not to melt, so I took my stick blender and then I crushed them into tiny little pieces, and then I started to get the results that I wanted. So when I got my desired consistency, I started to stir, and then I kept stirring. So you stir usually at one direction. So if you have a spatula or whatever, you just stir at one direction, and then I use the stick blender to continue mixing it to get the emulsified result, to ensure that your shea is emulsified fully into your lye. Now this is a little moringa powder. Like I said, we are doing a touch of moringa in this shea butter soup, so I added a little moringa powder. You can add more if you want to, but I just decided to add a little bit of moringa powder. It has fully reached its tracing point, and my soap is ready to be poured into the mold. And then after a day or two, we are going to start cutting it. So that is it. That is about it. Pouring it into the mold. And this recipe actually fits into this mold perfectly. So I'm done. See you in a day or two for the results of how the soup turned out. So now. I kept it for about 4 days. I don't know why, but I think I completely forgot about the soap. So we are now going to cut it. I got this soap cutter and I'm super excited about my transition. Initially I was using my kitchen knife to cut my soaps, so this is like a new addition to, and I'm gonna start cutting it. I think I didn't position it well because this was my first time of using this type of cutter, but I mean, in my other videos you're going to see how precisely I cut these bar soaps. So I mean, I was now trying to figure out how I was going to cut the soap with it. So don't worry if I didn't get it so accurate.